Okay, so in our first example, we've got a random sample of Americans reported the number of hours of sleep they got, their weekly income, and other demographic questions, as well as answered questions about how they spend their time on randomly chosen days. The sample was divided into 3 economic groups: lower, middle, and upper. So right there, because we've got 3 different groups, this necessitates the ANOVA test, because the t-test really can only handle 1 or 2 samples. Because the question was wondered whether the amount of sleep we got at night is associated with how much money we make. And the samples are large, about 2,100 in each group. So here we've got both a box plot, side-by-side box plots showing us. So it looks like there's quite a bit of variation between, or amongst, like each group individually. There's a lot of spread in every individual group. And again, we kind of talk about that based on IQR and things like that. Now, the downfall with the box plots is that they mark the median in the middle, but they don't mark the mean. So I can't really tell just by looking at this whether the means are similar or not. Now again, they've got means given in this output. Remember, these are X bar values. So in the sample means, yes, I can see that they are somewhat different from each other in the samples. But always remember that the sample is not what we want to talk about in our overall conclusion. I know exactly what happened in the sample. They were a little bit different, it looks like. My hypothesis is over the grander statement of the population. Do I think for all people that there would be a difference in the average amount of sleep that they get at night? So that's what we want to do, is we want to first write our null and our alternate hypothesis, and keep that in mind. That notice there's a difference in the notation. I am claiming that the mu, or the mean of the whole population of lower, middle, and upper class, would be the same as far as how much sleep they get. Or I would alternately be claiming that at least one of these is different. Now, these are the kind of more symbolic ways to write it. Again, if I'm claiming that all of the means, if all of the averages for minutes of sleep are basically the same, no matter which economic group you're in, then I'm claiming that there's no association between economic status and sleep hours. If they're all basically the same, no matter what group you fall in, then they must not affect each other in any way. My economic group must not affect my minutes of sleep. But if at least one of them is different, then I would be saying that there is an association between economic status and sleep hours. Okay, then we want to give the value of the F and our overall conclusion. So I can find that information here at the bottom of the test. So it looks like the F value is 51.92 approximately, and P is very small. P is less than 0.0001. So again, if we're thinking about what does this F distribution look like, it's right skewed starting at 0. So 50 must be very, very far over here, because there is barely anything at all left to be shaded underneath that, a very small p-value. So for my final conclusion, I might say since p is less than alpha, we reject the null. So again, this is what I'm rejecting. I'm rejecting that idea and instead going with this one. So I could say we are concluding at least one of these means is different. Or AKA, there is an association between economic status and sleep.